Welcome back on this autumn day, and it really does have an autumn feel about it. The skies are kind of a battleship grey, patches of white, and the clouds are moving quite fast with a southerly wind coming in off the Atlantic. Leaves are starting to turn and drop on the ground, although there is still a lot of coverage of green. I'm now locked into the battle with the chickens' furry friends. The rats, I've just seen the first signs of them, which means they're coming in out of the fields looking for somewhere to winter. I'm now locked in the battle to try and eradicate them with the chickens. That happens every autumn. I've discussed that before. My baby oak trees, which I'm growing in pots, which I'm going to plant out at some point, do a bit of guerrilla wildlife planting of these oak trees once they reach a suitable size. Their leaves are beginning to turn, just beginning to go yellow. It really does have that feel of autumn. And when I walk bracken up the road, I'm now met with a cold, stiff wind coming up over the valley and hitting me full on in the face. I can actually now feel it is coming. Autumn is not just here, it's beginning to leave summer back in the distant, well, past. Now I'm talking to you from the woodshed at the moment, and I'm looking at my supply of wood. I'm going to be a little bit more conservative with it this year, and because it's good quality hardwood, it does burn a lot longer and it produces a lot more heat. So even though last year I had this woodshed full, it was of a lower quality wood, and obviously you needed to have more air on it to burn it and to produce the heat. Better quality firewood, obviously you don't need as much, but I'm here sat looking at it, and you can see it behind me there. It does give you that nice feeling of having it in all ready to go during the winter. I'm now going to walk bracken, and I've got to face that wind, so join me as we walk up. Now all my fruit trees are beginning to lose their leaves, and the bottom part of my garden is actually covered in the leaves now. And this is usually the last tree to lose its leaves down here, but even they have started to turn. And coming down to the chickens, I've noticed, as I've said, my first hole, and I can see they've been going through there. And if I move the girls out the way, I can see a hole just behind that one there that I'm going to have to deal with. And they've outsmarted me this year. Instead of being on the perimeter on the outside, they've moved inside. So I'm going to have to move the chickens into this part of the run, which has a concrete floor, so I can deal with these rats out here. And not forgetting Bracken, he's stopped molting and his coat is getting a lot thicker now, and it's looking really fine. He's getting himself in condition to deal with the cold winter months ahead. And as I've said, my baby oak trees, which have done very well this year from acorns, they're beginning to lose their leaves now, and they will be going into their hibernation process. I do need to weed them, but once they've lost their leaves, I'll do that. And as it's autumn, you can clearly see one hedgerow has been cut by the farmer. Start of the hedge cutting season. This side is yet to be cut, and in amongst it you can find the very last of the blackberries. This autumn we seem to have an abundance of hawthorn berries. As I scour the hedge, it's becoming increasingly harder to find any blackberries that are worth picking. A lot of them are actually gone past the best. There are still one or two there, but as you can see, the damp conditions are turning them mouldy. These are late arrivals. They might not make it. The birds might take those before they ripen. Now, this late in the blackberry season, this is what you're typically facing. They've all gone past their best. They're either going mouldy, or the wildlife is beginning to fatten up on what is remaining to get through the winter. You might find the odd patch still here, high above the ground and hidden in amongst the leaves. Here we have some elderberries. And elderberry wine used to be quite a big thing. You don't hear about it quite as much. There's still people that do make it, but it used to be quite a thing. Back when I was a kid, you'd hear people talking about their stashes of elderberry wine. So with a new puppy, we've been having the back door open as we're letting Bracken and the puppy come and go out of the house as they want. But you can feel that chill air coming in the mornings, and it won't be many more days, if not well, a week or two at the most, before we'll have to open and close the door for them. They won't have access to come and go as they want. There's just that little bit of a bite in the air, and particularly the young kids, when they come down in the morning, first thing they say is, "Shut the door, it's getting cold, we can feel it." Now, this field has been harvested and the last bits of harvest are being brought in. But as I've said, you can see the local farmer up there hedge cutting and doing all the preparation for winter. This bit of ground gets too wet to have heavy machinery on, so it's a bit of a rush to get it done this time of year. In another few months you would not be able to drive anything on this ground. You would just sink, even though we are on relatively high ground. Even though it is still early, some of the leaves on these beech trees have actually gone, while others still remain and cling on. But I'm actually watching leaves float down and it's they're just gently floating down through the sky to the ground. And all the while you got that heavy grey sky behind. But the leaves are beginning to fall now, just gently trickle. The bracken is already starting to turn in big clumps and patches. But we still have some beautiful white flowers there in amongst it, to give total contrast to the fact things are beginning to die off for autumn. Now, looking across to the high ground, and I've spent a lot of time up there this particular summer. The wind is actually rattling down off that, coming down into the valley and then coming up to the opposite side to where I am. And I can feel it now. You can feel the change. It's actually happening. You do need a coat now to walk up here to feel comfortable. There is a Himalayan honeysuckle here in the hedge, pretty much at the top of the world as we call it. And I often wonder how it got here. I haven't transplanted it, but did a bird, take a seed, or did it somehow mysteriously get up here by somebody planting one? I don't know. It's not native, but it always makes me chuckle, particularly when I see it. And obviously I've got one in my garden. Now, as me and Bracken walk up here, he knows this is his quick little dog walk, but I'm just looking at the ground and you can see the remnants of the harvest here. And I've just scared a load of birds away because they've been eating all this corn. You can see it there left behind. That is a true bounty for the birds, or crows and pigeons. before winter sets in. But right there, that is the crest before you drop down into the valley to a huge woodland. Now this poor lonely tree, it sits here right on a corner of a field. And as you can see, it's been bent over eastward. That's quite simply because of the winds coming from the west over there, in off the Atlantic. Not interrupted by a lot because, like I said, we're reasonably high here. So the winds come in and that tree has no choice but to give in and bend over to the east. That gives you the direction of the wind and how tough it can be on this hillside to grow and make a living for yourself. But in contrast, because the air is so fresh here, we actually have lichen growing on the road. You don't see that very many places. That's actually lichen. It's not anything else, but as you can see, lichen is able to grow on the road here. Quite simply because the air quality is so good and it has light traffic use here. Dartmoor in the distance is just covered in haze, cloud and mist. And this is typical of an autumn day looking across. And to the other side, Cornwall and Bodmin Moor, my high ground. All the bales are in and wrapped and stored ready for winter. So I've just walked through a little bit of a wooded area and you can see the first signs of autumn there, and I've made my way up to what I call my secret little apple orchard. And it's a little piece of a field that's been historically cornered off. It's got a fence to stop cattle and it's got an old ancient orchard in it. Nobody uses it. In fact, I was told about it by a gentleman that's passed away now. Nobody comes here to pick up the apples, and I've traditionally, in the autumn, this time of year, come and harvested a couple bags of apples for myself. Not this year though. So here in North Cornwall, autumn seems to have just really kind of crept up on us. It was only a matter of days ago that I was surfing in what was considered a heat wave for this part of the world. And I will stick some footage of that on this video, or just after I finish talking, just to allow you to see the contrast and difference between what I was doing then and the weather conditions to what I'm doing now, walking through North Cornwall's countryside in the beginning stages of autumn. Autumn is one of my favourite times of the year, and traditionally I love taking advantage of the bounty of the wild surroundings, blackberries, sloths, wild apples and things like that. But this year we've put that on hold because we've had other things on our mind. But as I walk into this orchard, it does feel like it's a waste watching these apples rot away on the ground. I do a lot of my wild camping in here, not so much bushcraft because it's such a small area, but I do love to wild camp in here. It has a very nice, friendly feel and atmosphere. Right, I'm in the water. I'm heading out there. Not a lot happening, but hey, there's a bit of sun. I'm going to get wet and hopefully catch one or two small ones. There is a few small lines coming in, nothing much. Right, it's only about sort of knee high. I should be able to catch a wave. Although I've not had a lot of success in catching waves with my phone in this protective cover, waterproof cover, and video in it. Yet again, doing things on the cheap. Now this part of autumn is, the beginning part of autumn is a time that a lot of people will be reflecting on the summer you've had, what you've done, all the good times, possibly bad times. And this part of autumn will feel like it's the transition, kind of like a drawing of the line in the sand. Once you get into the later autumn, you know you're fully into winter, or you're coming up on winter, and you've got Christmas and all those things, Halloween and everything like that that's yet to come. But as I said, we are where we are at this part of autumn, and for me it's a very important time of the year. I'm starting to scout out and look at the condition of the trees, the leaves, and indeed the sticks and shoots which I might want to harvest in the next few months. So yeah, as a stick maker, this part of autumn is the time that my mind is starting to get into gear for the harvesting season. I've got a few locations that I want to have a look at, and I've been told I can go there, so I'm going to go and scout those out. But I will be going back to my main location. Quite simply, I have said in previous videos it was all going to be cut down, but the landowner's been extremely busy and hasn't got round to it, so that's but he has said yet again this year it is happening, and he's told me I can have the first or at least one good cut in my cutting season there before he does it. So I'm just waiting for these leaves to fully drop off. Sometimes it feels like forever for them all to come off because I'm waiting for the sap to return to the root balls of the trees so that the sticks don't crack so easily and they dry out better. But I'm going to get a cup of coffee on the go and just savour this, well, beautiful autumn afternoon. It's just after dinner time. I've done everything I need to do at home, and I've just come out for, I know, 30-40 minutes just to enjoy a little bit of time by myself in nature. Right, let's see if I can just get one of these apples. I should have brought my stick with me. Let's do a jump. There, got that. I've said it before, these are the best eating apples that you can get. I've never had apples like these before. They're absolutely gorgeous. Well, here we go to the start of autumn. These are just so sweet. And nobody picks these. Other than me, these trees probably haven't been harvested for probably 25-30 years easily. Well then guys, I've nearly finished my coffee. I've had my chocolate, that went first, and yeah, it's been pleasurable to have a few moments up here in nature, letting autumn soak into my soul, because quite simply, hey, we've all got busy lives, and it's been nice to draw a line in the sand, say goodbye to summer, and now start thinking about autumn and winter. It's a busy time of year for me, not just because I do all my outdoor activities throughout the autumn and winter, because quite simply I'm starting to think about harvesting sticks and getting them racked and drying to be crafted the following year when they've seasoned. I do follow the seasons, I live by the seasons in that effect, and I'm watching the leaves, not just somebody who enjoys autumn and nature. I make a small living from it, so obviously I'm bound to nature for a part of my existence. So yeah, I'm going to finish this and start heading off, and thanks for coming along for no other reason and just to say goodbye to summer and, well, usher in the beginning of autumn. So take care, stay safe, and I hope to see you guys out on the trail.